Candyman, 1992. It's basically a hip-hop version of Bloody Mary.
It's so 90s. The only enjoyment you can really get out of this movie is maybe
the gore scenes, the props. That was pretty good in this. That's something that makes this actually
No, they were
watchable.
like so hardcore props.
But we're gonna break it down. This is
Clive
Virginia
Baker
JBM.
was involved in this, but basically he was just obviously targeting the urban audience, just a horror version of that, Bloody Mary.
Yeah, they threw a lot
So it's
of things
become
into
legendary since hip hop has become legendary, even though there isn't no hip hop in the whole freaking movie. Anyway, Tony Todd's awesome.
Except bad hip hop actors.
From the Final Destination, he plays William Bloodworth in that, as we know, and Virginia Madsen as the bitch in this.
Who looks like Sharon Stone, but let's face it,
she's no Sharon Stone.
Exactly. So then it starts opening off with a whole bunch of filler.
The first 40 minutes is just like them smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, from room to room in like the campus, like asking students, like it's just one-on-one, like her.
The only highlight is her like French inhaling.
Talking about Candyman.
It's her French inhaling like she's a freshman or something, 15.
You know, those kids like you just found out about French inhaling, like so retarded.
And then she's doing a thesis for about the Candyman.
Oh yeah,
legend
she shows up to the ghetto.
In the ghetto of Chicago. It's not even they set the sequels in New Orleans. They're like, you know, this character will do better in the South. Like,
she wants to go to the murder scene of the chick that got killed from Candyman because he said his name 5 times in the mirror. And they show up and it's just like stereotypical of like some G's out on the porch like, oh, where you going, honey? Oh, are you a cop? Oh.
Everything was such a movie.
And then she's like, I'm doing a thesis. I'm not a cop. And they're like, all right, well, we're going to gang rape you.
And then she's like, yeah, they think we're cops.
He doesn't
and
get
it's like...
Okay, but then no, so they check it out, she's with a friend, and then it cuts and there's just a lot of filler up the butt and they're getting photos.
And then it's one like...
And then she's like, we're going to get a book deal.
One lady opens up the door with her freaking Rottweiler and her freaking baby, and then like...
And they go in there and talk about nothing, literally. It's a total filler scene. Like, she just says, like, yeah...
Obviously just proves it, like, yeah, we all believe in Candyman.
Yeah, I heard the screams that night. And inside the apartment, it's like all nice and clean and shiny. The rest of the whole place is run down. You're like, what the heck? It's a total set.
I watched it all the way through, actually.
It's just establishing that she's got a baby, and then freaking it cuts to freaking them saying they're gonna get a publishing deal, you know, for them doing the research.
This review ain't gonna be too long. Now we're gonna get into this hardcore spoilers, so this is for people who've seen it. I don't really recommend it, but yeah, whatever. Unless you get enjoyment out of, I don't know.
Spoilers?
No, I was talking about in this movie, like, the only highlights is Tony Todd's.
Well, freaking as they're leaving, or no, that's her at the apartment. The reporter lady, the main character. She says his name 5 times, but he doesn't show up right then and there. And then to sum it up,
and her friend ends up getting killed. No, the dog ends up getting killed, and they end up framing her.
Okay, let me say this. No, freaking she calls his name, and then freaking she wakes up out of nowhere because Candyman freaking came about, and then like put her under, and then she wakes up in the lady's apartment. You think it's like Candyman's like crib, like where he's killing everyone, and she wakes up all covered in blood. She comes out and it's the freaking dog's prop that was so tight.
Candyman's basically a snitch because he's basically framing her for all the murders.
Oh yeah, he keeps calling the cops.
Sum it up.
He keeps calling the cops, and they show up like perfect time when she's about to whack the chick.
Yeah, the cops show up perfect timing in the hood.
Yeah, Candyman. Yeah,
that's
okay,
realistic.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
I told you, it's things like that where you're just like, this is such a movie.
This is a movie in the 90s, 1992 to be exact.
And then
But that prop scene, all that blood, that was pretty tight.
No, I'll tell you what's dope is her friend's dead body scene when it's like pale blue. That's like one of the dopest dead bodies.
Well, it's after she goes see a sane asylum. Because Candyman shows up again when...
I already summed it up. They think she's crazy and she's killing people, and when obviously, because Candyman
kills the guy that was interviewing her at the insane asylum. That's how she breaks out. And then he gets like pulling out the glass with a wire and hook. That's hilarious. You know, you can see the prop and grip work. Subplot.
Her husband's cheating on her.
Because she called when she was in jail. She did her one phone call at 3 a.m. And freaking, he didn't answer. They showed, you know, he's not there. And she's like, oh, where were you? And he was like, oh, I was working.
You could see
I was sleeping. I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear the phone.
You could actually see everything.
Yeah,
coming.
you can see it all coming. Like you can see the scene where it's like, okay,
Like
she's gonna walk around taking pictures for 10 minutes.
But
Okay, boring. And then yeah, so her husband's cheating on her, subplot, and then she breaks out. What?
She finds like her husband officially cheating on her, like when she breaks out of the asylum, and like the psychiatrist gets killed Freddy Krueger style, like he just shows up.
And it's like his mistress like painting the crib, like, and it's like all their stuff packed up, like they're leaving, but it's like they moved in, like what? It like doesn't even really make sense.
They're overpainting the blood scene because there was a murder scene because their friend got killed in that apartment.
Oh yeah.
And the next shot shows her on the bridge, and it's like a voiceover of the Candyman. And you're like, all she has left now is the Candyman, and a face.
Yeah, that's what he says basically.
And a face that looks like Sharon Stone.
Basically, kind of looks like her.
But she's no Sharon Stone.
So then, freaking she goes.
No, Virginia Madsen's a legend in her own right, though. Not really, but.
So then the baby's missing from that apartment where the first thing happened, where she woke up at. So that all ties into the next scene where they're like, oh, the little black boy's gonna start the fire for the freaking bonfire.
The final showdown
in the hood.
Shut up. The final showdown is they still focus on the baby's health. Like the baby's been surviving, like in like where like a crack like heads like go into like
it's been surviving in a crib.
Like
it's been surviving in a baby crib inside Candyman's
in like
place.
A crack in the wall like of the apartment place
through the mirror.
And you know what Candyman is? He's like a son of a rich freaking
slave,
ex-slave,
who made a machine that
like how rare
mass-produced shoes, and you're like, okay. And then you're like, okay, and then how the bees tie in with this? Oh, they smothered him with honey, and they didn't get stung, but so that's how the bees all playing. Like you thought it was voodoo. Like when we first thought about this movie, like we thought it was like voodoo or something.
I thought the legend of
but he's
it
got
was
a freaking
hook,
and he's got freaking
voodoo,
bees.
Like in the second one.
Probably, but I wouldn't know.
In the sequels or something.
No
I don't know. Someone tell me. That's what I do this review for. Just tell me. Just tell him, guys.
Tell him. He wants to know.
And then the final showdown, the Candyman gets staked.
They light the fire, and the baby's at the top of the bonfire.
He gets staked, and he like blows up. Of course, they do a fire because it was unoriginal, like a fire horror movie ending. Like
it's gonna be like a sacrifice of the baby at the top.
And the whole hood shows then like she actually dies, and she ends up not looking like Sharon Stone.
Oh yeah, she's
no fucking
burnt.
Sharon Stone.
It's a pretty good prop. Her hair's all burnt. She looks pathetic.
And they actually do an after scene. They should have just cut it, ended right there.
They do an after scene after an after scene.
They should have shown like the Candyman's hand coming up out of the freaking pile of blow up,
like Shredder, with the ooze in the deck underwater.
Actually, that movie came out the same year.
Oh wow.
1992, Secret of the Ooze.
Type.
Anyway, yeah, they should have ended it, but they do a funeral scene.
And it's just like the professor and her husband and his mistress.
And the whole hood shows up.
Because they're giving her props because she killed Candyman. She's got respect. She killed Candyman.
And so she's good.
And leading the crowd is the little black boy and the freaking lady that she hatched in the shoulder.
She got street cred for killing Candyman, even though he's already dead. Like, what kind of ending is that?
How can you kill him when he's already dead and he's got bees coming out of his mouth and he kisses her?
He's a spirit. Like, it didn't even make any sense.
Then
like they do an after scene, and then the guy, her ex-husband, he like ends up getting killed by her, and like she's the new Candyman.
And you're like, oh great, because she says he doesn't even say her name 5 times. I thought he was gonna say Candyman, at the end.
But he says
that's
Helen.
What it should have been. But he's like Helen, and then she shows up, kills him, and his mistress is looking pretty hot at that scene.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch this again until like 2025.
Or probably never.
Yeah, most likely never.
What do you give it? A 6 out of 10? I was thinking about giving it like a 5.5 out of 10, just because of the filler and the 90s-ness.
You ready? 6 B's out of 10. This was JBM and L-Mid.
Give us your thoughts. Give us your comments. Check out Villain News, Mr. Creepshow,
and Villain Radio. Shout out to Horror Squad, Edit Pro TV, Ghostface Kevin, Snowstalker, and everyone else, my subscribers.